Hi there, YouTube land people. So I just did a video on the silver linings of the COVID-19 and how I've always felt like the criminal industrial prison complex was just like an old relic of the dark ages, which it is. And the strange coincidence is, as soon as I got done with that video, a video popped up and on my subscriptions, and it said, so it has like a camera, a camera in a store, showing how people are now going in to stores and loading up on free goods and then just walking out without paying, because again they know that there's no consequence, because well, a lot of prisoners are not being convicted right now because, well, we got a epidemic, virus affecting populations and can cause collapse of our medical system, which would then lead to a collapse of everything. But you know, that's a really weird coincidence, because I just got done talking about that, and then I saw that video and it made me think, well, maybe I should talk a little bit more on the subject, because of course we can't have anarchy and people just going in and loading up on all kinds of free goods, and then all of a sudden we won't have nothing left. But that's why the military is being deployed, and I think that's why we are going to have armed guards eventually guarding stores and everything. But that just like makes me really think. And you know, again, I really don't think, if people weren't desperate, like, unless you're just like so animalistic and so crazy, I mean, why would anyone steal if they had enough? If they're that crazy and greedy, to think that that would be some kind of a good world to live in, where everyone just takes everything, and then there'd be, I mean, because think about it. What if everyone did that? If everyone just walked into a store and took everything they wanted, we would live in a horrible reality, where even people that had money wouldn't even be able to go buy anything, because everyone would just would go in and hoard and steal and hoard everything. But you know, that's very much ingrained in our animalistic selves, which we have to rise above and be human. But for a lot of people, it's difficult. Maybe even if you do have enough. I've been there before. I've felt myself get greedy before. You know, I would never go loot a store. I'm not that crazy or greedy, but you know, I might overspend on something that I didn't really need that much of, and then I realized later, like, I didn't need all that. Like, and then it just goes to waste. You know, it's kind of inherited in our animal side, because as humans, we do have an animal side. I believe we all do. I think that some of the worst hoarders in this world are the most wealthy people in the world, because how else would they get so wealthy? Why should banks own everything? Did they build our society? Were they the ones that built infrastructure? I don't think so. It was the worker. It's people who work, the workers, people who are out building things. They're the ones that built infrastructure, not the banks. So why should banks own everything? Why is it that they do own everything? You know, and for many years we could pay forever on a house and still not really own it, because again, and it goes back to government and how they make you pay taxes forever on property, like you never really own it. So they're the truly greedy ones. They're the true criminals. You know, I just think that if everyone had enough, you would have to be crazy to just go hoard everything, because that would mean it would be a horrible world with not enough for anyone. And then I would just like to think that, you know, I don't have all the answers, but yeah, it's happening. People are going in and they're taking a lot of stuff they don't need. They're probably thinking they want to resell it, and that is wrong, because somebody had to labor to make that stuff. So in a way, you're stealing from people who worked to create that stuff. and you're stealing from stores who have to stay in business to supply that stuff, because if they will go out, if stores go out of business, well then we're going to be living in some horrible, horrible world. But I think that's where the military has to come in, and there has to be armed guards. It has to be that way, because otherwise we won't have anything. People will just go hoard and steal things they don't need just to try to resell later. It doesn't make any sense. I would like to think, maybe I'm naive, but I would like to think that with a basic income, it would stop a lot of it. I'm not saying it would stop all of it, but it would stop a lot of stealing. But in times like these, yeah, I guess stores need to be armed. And I know this is going to sound really Orwellian, but I think we live in the dark ages right now. And in a perfect world, you would just walk into your store, get what you need, and walk out. And automatically the amount would register off your ID that you carry, that you would not even have to present. If you choose to get a chip, you could do that too. It doesn't even have to be under the skin. It could just be like an invisible tattoo on your hand or something. I don't know. Would I want that? An invisible tattoo to buy what I need without cash, without a credit card, without no way for anyone to steal from me? I don't know, because we're not at that point, but I do know the technology is there. And I do know that you can, right now, there is a store in Seattle where you can just walk in and walk out with what you need, and automatically, I don't know if you have to present your card at the door. I don't think so. Maybe somebody knows more about it. But yeah, it's cashless. You walk in, you walk out, no lines, and no stealing, because they know who you are. Basically, that's it. You can't steal. They would know who you are. Now, unless you had an invisible tattoo, people could go in without their card, without their ID, steal and walk out, of course. So, I don't know, maybe people who abuse the system so badly, they hoard so much, they steal so much, maybe they would have to get the invisible tattoo so they couldn't do it no more. What do you think? Yeah. Well, what other options are there? I don't like prison. I think that's an old relic. Okay, I don't like people that go in and hoard and take everything, because that's stealing from all of us. It's stealing from people that have to work to put that stuff on the shelves. It's stealing from stores, business owners that have to spend money for that stuff. So what do? What's the answer? And you don't want prison, so what else? Invisible tattoo. What do you think? Take care.